Hi, this is Don Mayer, and I'm going to show you some of my pastels that I did plein air on location out in my backyard for the most part. And for about 40 years I traveled across the country painting on location, usually in watercolor but sometimes in pastel, all over the country to the most beautiful places I could find. And in 2007, I discovered my own backyard, beginning with just some of the trees as they were starting to turn in the fall, and then continuing on, adding in my birdhouses that I had all throughout the yard, and then discovering how my white plastic chairs looked in amongst the compositions. And as you can see here, there's quite a few subjects that I did over and over again, which I ultimately turned into triptychs. That's when you frame three pieces in a row. These right here are James, my neighbor, and his barns. He's got 3 outbuildings, a lean-to, and a shed and a barn. Found those to be quite entertaining and enjoyed drawing them very much, as you can tell. These pastels are all very small, 1/16 of a full sheet of pastel paper, and that comes out to about 4.5 by 6 inches. I started out with this size on an Alaska cruise in 2007 that my dad took us on, and there were 19 of us in the family. He just decided to give us all a treat and took us there as his children and spouses and all of their children. There on the ship I did pastel portraits of everyone, and when I got back I just kept on working in pastel at that same size, doing these little thumbnail sketches in my backyard. And as I worked and worked and worked all summer, did practically I don't know, 4 or 5 at least every day, usually on into the late hours as it started to get dark. And as it did get dark, I began doing pieces that were more abstract, and I would simply choose a couple of colors that I liked and start to work in light and dark using the colors as best I could see them. These right here turned out to be rather abstracted, these 3 red birdhouse series here. Others are a lot more literal, like this one. And as I was saying, the ones done late in the evening became quite abstract. I would do as much as I could until it got totally dark, and then I would come in the house and do a few finishing strokes just to finish it off. But those actually turned out to be some of my favorites. Anyway, hope you like this and enjoy. These are my neighbor's house. That's Kathy's. This is my neighbor across the street. This is the view down across my street. I live up on a little hill, and there's a triptych of Dixon Road in my corner where the stop sign is. We had a snow that winter in 2008. In this case, it's the same scene done on different days. Some triptychs are done of the same scene, but like in this case, I just panned across left, center, and right. And I did the trees across the creek in the backyard. Here are those individuals. There's the finished triptych. This is the path across the creek and my neighbors. Here's an example of some of the ones that I did that were towards the ends of the day, and these are actually sunset coming through the trees. This is very late, you can barely tell. This particular one was done in December, as I recall, and here's a little still life that I did of some pine cones. This is my neighbors across the creek, the Barnetts, and this is their house at night, done in three different times. I actually did this out in the dark, and it was kind of hard to see. As I said, it's a light color, a dark couple of colors, and then just putting them down and in the half light. This one as well is at night. This one's at night too. And that's actually some moonlight coming through the trees. These are quite a bit more abstracted and quite a bit of fun. Not even sure what that one is. This is the Barnetts. And there are my birdhouses and white chairs, and those red bushes happen to be blueberry bushes, which I have about 50 of down by the creek. And in the fall they turn quite a nice color of red and pink and kind of a salmon color. Now, I plan to do these in a much larger scale. I've got some some canvases that I plan to do in large scale oils. The same compositions, just upsize the brush strokes. So we'll see how it goes. This is my plan, but I think we'd make really good studies for large oils. This is a sunset in winter, another winter sky. Now this pastel is quite a bit larger. This is a half sheet. And another half sheet in my backyard. Now I'm going to show you a couple of pastels done in 2008, the following year, out in California on a trip out there that I took to my son's wedding. We got married and lives in Redwood City. And this is a friend of mine, my buddy Louie and my wife Susie, who are fishing at the lake. And there's a largemouth bass that Louie caught. And this is my friend Louie. And on the way back, stopped at Canyon de Chelly and did a pastel there. And this here is a pastel done out on the coast in a private plain. This also on the coast of Pigeon Point, one of my favorite places. And again, Pigeon Point. This is here in Georgia in Ackworth, and this is also a group of houses in Ackworth. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out my websites, pleinairartist.ning.com, webme.com, Mayor Gallery, and fineartamerica.com.